While the Fairbanks Four, as they would come to be known, and that was a name coined by their attorney, by the way, brilliant marketing tactic. While they were detained, police received statements from 3 other inmates in that same jail, one of whom was the victim's brother, claiming that the 4 men made incriminating statements while in jail together awaiting trial, which the men, of course, vehemently denied. The investigation was heavily scrutinized from the beginning as racial issues were called on, as the 4 men were Native Alaskans or American Indian. There is a long, long history, as you probably know, of prejudice against natives in Alaska. Yeah. We've talked about this before, but the missing indigenous women, this story takes place in the late 90s, but it didn't really come full circle until just a couple years ago, 2019, something like that, I think it was. And the racism issue there is still such a big part of the story. I mean, it sounds so weird to say that.
There's another part here too that you mentioned. It's just like the whole jailhouse informant thing is so fraught. When you really think about it, why would someone in jail want to give information up? They would want to do that to get a better deal for themselves and find a way out. And we see this over and over again, that these jailhouse informants are not credible witnesses and that there's something for them and they can pretty much make up anything. There's been lots of cases where they're hunting the right people in prison who want to make a deal, and it is who can come up first with the best deal. Like, it's another part of this too. So if that's the backbone of all of this, you don't really have that much, but it builds a case.
It helps to build a case. And, the jailhouse snitch thing, but top that off with one of the jailhouse snitches was the victim's brother.
Right.
So that adds a whole other level of dicey to this. Of course that guy wants these guys to go to prison and stay there, right, and be convicted, But I will say too, and I talked about, the first time they started to be called the Fairbanks Four, and that name, their attorney came up with that. And I am going to say right now, just my opinion, but that is probably the smartest thing that attorney did. Seriously, you think about this, and I say that because when you have a public interest in a case like this, like we're standing behind something as the public, there's been an injustice, whatever it is, they came up with the holding 4 fingers up for the Fairbanks Four. It was a visual aid. They had the name that it's right. Fairbanks Four. It rolls off the tongue.
And it reminds me of Central Park 5.
Yeah, 100%. And that's where he got it from, I think. Yeah. Or it was that, or there's another something 7, the Chicago 7 or something.
Yeah.
But when you have something that is actually marketable, it makes people remember it. When people talk about it, it just kind of sticks in your mind a little more. And that helped tremendously for this story to spread out far outside of Anchorage, Alaska, Fairbanks, Alaska.
Makes a great news headline.
Yeah, Anchorage. I just said Anchorage. They're not the Anchorage Four, they're the Fairbanks Four. But yeah, but I mean, that was probably the single smartest thing that guy did to help this case and help these guys. And I mean, in my opinion.